better.
That almost evolved into something worse.
Hey, how goes it? I'm Andrew, your DM for the day, along with the band of miscreants and murder hobos you see alongside me here. We're the Dirty Rollers, and this video is our way of setting expectations for you guys, the viewers, and our player character and campaign introductions for the Mudbutts Goblin campaign. First of all, we're pretty chill, laid-back group, hate-free group. Everyone's welcome, unless you're being a dick. So just don't be a dick, and you're good here. As I said, this is a goblin campaign. The Mudbutts are a group of goblins, and thus the players are all goblins. So there's a lot of goblin shenanigans and a lot of ridiculousness. Probably not for kids. Rated M. Morally ambiguous goblins here.
Rated R for goblins.
Yes, definitely for all the goblin shenanigans we get up to.
Rated R for ritualistic sacrifice.
Also this, especially via Buckletick there. So as far as setting expectations too, we do have a bit of a goofy recording in what'll probably be an odd release schedule. I'm running 2 campaigns that we're going to put on the show here. This one is our Goblin campaign. I'm also running Rime of the Frost Maiden with most of the same characters, and we swap one map for another. As you probably see in a different intro.
We swap mats.
Yeah, we swap mats. Other than that, it's the same group of people, just a different campaign. The Mudbutts campaign is a homebrew campaign in the Wildemount setting, and particularly on the far eastern side of Wildemount on the Bightshore. We'll be playing around in Wildemount, different parts maybe. Most of it so far, or all of it actually, has taken place on the Bightshore. We might get out of there sometime. But as for our release schedule, so we record each campaign one time a month for about 6 to 7 hours each, and then we split those recordings into 2 episodes. So, if you see us all wearing the same clothes 2 episodes in a row, we're really not dirty, I swear.
We're dirty rollers. We're super dirty.
We're not dirty in anything other than name. But we split them off into 2, and then we'll be swapping weeks. So 1 week's release will be the Mudbutts campaign. The next week will be Frost Maiden, and we'll go back and forth. I know at this point we have 12 episodes of Goblins recorded, I think, and what did we have, 6 or 8 of Frost Maiden?
That's it.
But we also had some technical difficulties for 2 of the Goblin episodes and 1 of the Frost Maiden episodes where we lost whole things. So once we start releasing things, I'll probably have to put a shortened TLDR version of those missing episodes, because I don't think we can recover them. Hopefully we can. But that being said, we're not professionals. This is our first time running shows and things, so we're going to run into technical difficulties like that. Farts will happen. Often.
And burps. Burps and farts.
So please forgive us for any technical difficulties we have. We'll try to correct what we can, and we'll try to get things out there. And if we end up losing episodes like that, we'll try to do something to go over what happened. I'm really sad about the Goblin one though, and because that was a fun little mini boss kind of fight with I won't spoil it. It was a fun mini boss fight, and I'm kind of sad it's gone. I hope we can recover it. Frost Maiden, there was an interesting character introduced, I believe, if I can remember right. Also won't spoil it. I'm really sad we lost him. It sucks. But just be warned, stuff like that may happen, because we're still learning. I'm still learning OBS and
sometimes crap just happens too.
Yeah.
For no reason, it just doesn't work right.
Sometimes Roll20 will crap out on us and we'll lose people. Sometimes Jacob goes AFK. He fades away.
Jacob fades away often.
I'm still here.
Yep. But so that's kind of what to expect. It's just a goofy recording schedule because of everyone's schedules, and lining up 7 people with jobs and everything turns out it's a little bit hard. So we do what we can. Like I said, this whole campaign takes place in Wildemount. Didn't mention yet that the group is largely based on the back of a giant horizon-back turtle named Tiltalden. That said, I have some fun things to show off here.
I like turtles.
I like
This is Tiltalden. All this art and character art and everything is done by Melissa here in the Dirty Rollers.
Yeah.
Awesome. Make sure to drop her some props for all of her art. So yeah, this is the home of Tiltalden. Are we in the driver's hut up there? Rothic. Characters will be introduced later on as we go on through the episodes. Tiltalden makes its way along the Bightshore, and the goblins use it as like a little mobile base of operations and like a safe haven of sorts. So, also wanted to mention this campaign was kind of a spiritual successor to our old Goblin campaign. We started out playing Pathfinder Goblins and had a blast doing that, and took a little bit of a hiatus. I don't know, for maybe like a year or two, and then
and that was originally just Melissa, me, Garu, and Jake, right?
Yep, I think
or
so.
Originally,
yeah.
just us.
Yep. And then we took a little bit of a hiatus from the Pathfinder Goblins, and then when we decided we wanted to start playing stuff again, 5th edition was out, and we just kind of dove into 5th edition and haven't looked back. Just kind of just evolved. I don't think anybody's characters are really the same, except for maybe Mustela is.
She's the most
close.
similar. Yeah, I tried to make the most similar I could
Yep.
to my original Gobbo.
Yeah, so Chrissy playing Mustela's character, I think, is about the only one that stayed from the Pathfinder days. So you'll notice at the start of this campaign, where we started recording, all the players or characters are level 5. This is because we started just playing, I think, at either level 1 or 3. Played for a while, and then we decided we were going to try to see how it went making a show out of it. And these guys are hilarious and do ridiculous things as goblins that I thought other people might enjoy. So we're going to try to put it out there and get a good group. They're a good fun group. So I hope you guys all enjoy it, watching all the shenanigans they get up to. But yeah, they're at the start of the show, they'll be level 5. I didn't give them level 5. They've gotten this far. They just did, levels 1 through 5 off camera when we were played offline. So they kind of got to where they are at the end of episode 1. We'll go over some character elements, but you'll notice one name get repeated pretty often in reference to. Does anybody have any guess as to which one name that is that gets brought up and referenced over the course of all of our recordings so far?
Wilhelm.
So I do my best to try and not railroad people through things, but I do kind of write along like a set story path. That said, I don't stop them from going off the rails. And Mr. Jacob there, via Sharto, he put it in 4-wheel drive and just went completely off-road by killing a character named Wilhelm as an NPC that had a whole series of quests attached to him and murdered him upon first meeting him, which, in hindsight, and knowing how Jake plays here, I should have absolutely seen this coming and prepared for it. That's on me.
Thank you.
That's on me.
Exactly. Your fault, man.
I mean, going in, we were told this was going to be like the evil murder hobo campaign anyway.
Yeah,
That's true,
yeah. So I should have known that, but this is that led to a whole lot of hurry up and make some shit up as I go along, stuff. And the good news about that, though, is I don't think we would have had that really fun. This happened off camera, so this isn't spoilers of any kind. But they came across a nilbog, which was kind of my revenge at Sharto. It wasn't really targeted at him, but it turned out that way, and it was.
Fuck, it was. Sharto could not stop dancing with that nilbog.
It wasn't just Sharto. I was rolling crappy that night too.
It was a fantastic.
Me, Sharto, and the nilbog just dancing the night away.
Uncontrollably.
I kept hitting it, and it was at the subsequent turn where it could just make the hit as if it never happened. It's like, God! It was so frustrating.
Turns out nilbogs are fun little enemies that I don't see show up enough and would like to see more. So anybody that plays, go ahead and put nilbogs in your campaign and watch your players suffer. It's hilarious. Sharto has developed a murderous hatred, and I think Jacob too, by extension, for the nilbogs. They may or may not be gone. I don't know. You guys might run across them again. So we'll see.
Do you need to explain what a nilbog is? Is that something most people know?
Jake, how would you describe a nilbog?
Bullshit.
He's not wrong.
If you have a charisma dump stat, just run.
So nilbogs are like
I had 3 negative rolls in a row.
They are like mischievous goblin spirits that like to vex targets and screw with people, make them dance and praise them. So yeah, they were a really fun encounter. One that I hadn't used before, but seeing the an all goblin party, like I couldn't resist putting a nilbog. And anything, if there's something like goblin related in a monster manual or something, I'm probably going to use it at some point because it's really fun. Like the bar guest, which is how you guys kind of started out playing. We had some fun interactions with the bar guest, and you were supposed to help the tribe of goblins chase away 2 bar guests that were terrorizing the tribe.
Yeah.
You guys remember what happened with that?
Yeah, I'm wearing one of those Bargus heads or skulls on my head.
And someone has a purse made out of a very particular region of their skin.
Yeah, what else?
Oh
is
yeah,
in that bar
have
guest?
that as well.
A Vargas ball sack.
I honestly forget who has that sack.
I do.
Oh, that's Squeeb.
Oh, okay.
That's me.
Didn't you make
that's
it into a ball sack of holding?
It's not yet.
Not
It
yet.
can't
Not
be.
yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Cool. Didn't know.
So they, as a group, successfully chased away killed the bar guest, rescued who they could from the tribe, saved the tribe, the wayward goblins from a band of bullywugs, I think it was, and brought them back to Tolthalden, and were made members of the Mudbutts for helping out. They've also in those early days they encountered the Hearthworm. I think you guys had a real good fun time with the Hearthworm.
Yeah.
Like a ball.
So that was good timing though, because we were just crossing, going down a road, and it was like shoreline, and we saw 3 humans just near the shore. So we're like, let's murder them. We killed them instantly. Marrow started attacking us. So
Little too
it was
close to the shore.
like we murdered people. We almost got murdered by water people, and then we're like, hey, we smell something, and we made our way towards a new enemy after already expending a lot of
The
spell
most
slots.
delicious of smells.
Oh yeah.
Fine brandy. And all these kinds of things. It was absolutely mind-boggling. But it was us to be eaten.
A pig on a spit would have been great.
The Hearthworm was an encounter.
Oh, that was a sick fight too. Oh man.
So they did some
It's sick in a
things.
good way.
They did some
Rodeoing, that
things-
was fun.
The what was?
Oh my god, yeah.
Rodeo. Iris doing the rodeo, just jab the.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Dropping
Thing into
down
the eyes.
from the cliffside on top of it.
That was fun.
More
I
crazy
think
shit.
that episode has my favorite art in it. Just for all the things that happened.
And sadly, that one wasn't a recorded episode. That was all offline. I wish I had it though, because that would have been super fun to go back and watch. I wish we had recorded the No Bog episode because that was great.
Wasn't that the episode that Iris ripped the nipples off a marrow and killed it that way?
Yeah.
That's in her character art too. You can see it. You zoom in on it.
Nipples.
Yeah.
What
Die from purple nipples.
what kills me the most about the not having a recording of the Nilbog was how you portrayed him. Where he's like, and he does like a cross stretch. He's like, pew! And then he just shoots somebody with a ray of magic, and it's like you're feeble-minded or something like that. Your delivery was perfect. It made me laugh. And frustrated, and oh god, Jesus.
So then, after they saved the goblins and had the encounter with the marrow and the hearthworm, they went back to Tulthalden, and they were kind of treated as like some really good fighters and new, even though they're like brand new to the tribe, like nice trusted members of the Mudbutts, and they were started to get missions from the king, King Fwaddick, as it was, and you guys went to a city.
Didn't we have a run-in with a Catoplebis or whatever?
Cataplepis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, you're like,
A stink cow.
That's
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that thing could have one-shotted us all.
Mhm.
A stink move. Yeah, that was also fun. I actually I really like using weird random creatures that aren't seen so often. So
the existential dread cow.
Existential dread. Yeah.
The existential dread cow.
I like using weird, gross things like that.
But
you
you
guys-
we never know what anything is. We encounter like, what's this weird cow thing? Let's poke it. And it's like, no, that thing can kill you with one shot.
They went to a city after they were tasked with making a trade with a contact that they had for weapons and armor, little goblin-sized weapons and armor from a neighboring city. Or you met a man named Troth, who, if you guys remember Troth, he's a kind of a flamboyant figure and gave you guys a little bit of work to do on the side while you were waiting on the shipment of weapons and armor. When they met them, I don't know if you guys remember this.
Didn't we
fun
kill
stuff.
some of his men? Sorry.
Probably.
In a bar fight, yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
bar
Just
fight.
destroyed that bar.
I kept mentally fucking with them, being like, "Are you guys with this guy?" They're like, "Who's talking to me?" And I make kissing noises in their heads, and he's like, "I was up your kids."
Yeah, I think that was where you met Kyrakis too.
Oh shit.
Kyrakis and Troth. That led to a couple things actually. That led to your like tower defense scenario in the caves,
Oh yeah.
where you defended Troth's stash of illicit goods from a band of goodly adventurers.
That was pretty funny. I like that.
Booby traps galore, and it really softened him up so many times. So the pitfalls where you hear a dude in a suit of armor going, "Damn it," and then you hear it again. He's like, "Not again!"
That was my favorite part. Just the not again.
Yeah, so the group was given a handful of like spell scrolls and items to use to defend this network of caves and tunnels from the band of adventurers. And I think Sharto's bow came from those guys, if I remember right.
I think we got like. Oh, sorry.
That was no, you're right. That was probably like the last dump of magic goods you guys have come across.
Yeah. I think that's where we got Mustela's bib and
Oh
like
great. Yeah. The butcher
And
shroud.
the Buckletick's cloak of protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Mustela's bib actually came from Troth. He let you guys take an item out of the chest.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
where it came from. Yeah.
That's true.
But Sharto's bow, Nik Nik's cloak, and Buckletick's cloak all came from those adventures, I believe. You guys had a ring too. Someone had the ring and it was used almost like immediately, or like the next session or something.
Ring of Salvation?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was now.
I
But
can't remember now.
I think
essentially,
I have the Ring of Salvation.
do you still?
Iris had the needle.
Yeah,
The
for my
needle that gave her a tattoo.
tattoo.
Oh, that was way later.
That's. I'm not
That's
gonna
when
say
you
anymore.
killed Krampus.
That's the story that
Yep.
I really want people to watch.
That one's not recorded though, so we're fine with talking about it.
That was the first Dr. Buckletick moment.
Yeah, Doctor
Dr.
Buckletick.
Buckletick.
That was one of the other missions that came from that city and from Troth himself, where you're supposed to go help some of his men in a village that were being assaulted by, remember?
Snowmen.
And snowmen.
Snowmen and boggles.
Oh, those little bastards.
Oh, boggles. Those things were gross.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hated
Iris
those things.
saved the baby with an appendage, an iris appendage.
Iris's appendages.
Yes.
We'll get to Iris's appendages a little bit later on.
Man, that's where Iris got her dolls.
My dolls.
Yeah, she got her
Iris
dolls.
got her dolls from there.
But also in that little village where they were saving Troth's men, they had a run in. Cause it was a Christmas. It was the December session, so I had to put a little Christmas flair on it. It was a Krampus fight where they defended the village against Krampus and the snowmen and the boggles, and got some cool rewards from one of the halflings there. Iris's tattoo.
And
her
how
dolls.
did Krampus get killed?
Oh, go ahead.
Very easily.
Jake rolled a nat 20 for the final hit or something. It was just like super epic, and Andy's like, all right, so how do you want to finish off Krampus? And Jake fades away. Sharto just fades away.
I
No
just
flare.
still wrestling with Krampus for a while. Enlarged bear form.
Yep.
Very
Good.
enlarged.
Mustela was a bear, and Squeeb enlarged her. It was a large bear versus large Krampus fight.
Kaiju fight.
Wasn't that
Was
the
that-
place that Sharto got the pipe that was carved with his face on it?
Was it? I can't remember.
Mhm.
The pipe
yeah.
that he still has.
Good,
Yeah.
good pipe weed.
Yep. And was that the start of your fading away?
Was it?
I think it
Yep.
might have
I
been.
think.
Is that the original fadeaway? Was the critical
The
hit?
first fade away.
And if that was recorded,
I mean,
if that was
He
recorded,
always
we
does
could
it.
make an NFT out of Sharto's fade away. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. It's dumb. From there, they went back to Tultalden, if I remember right, and had some choices to make. They were told about different groups of goblin tribes that they could interact with in different ways, given a variety of different missions from King Foddick himself. And after they had done those missions in the city for Troth and then brought back the weapons and armor to Tultalden, they were made like champions of Tultalden almost. Like they were the saviors or the really good fighters in goblin terms. Definitely outside of maybe the guards for Foddick, Crush and Bash, who Buckletick's got a little something with there, one of them. Probably the best muscle that Tultalden has. So our recorded campaign actually picks up when they decide to head off on the first of the missions relating to these other goblin tribes. So when you start episode 1, that's pretty much where we pick up right there.
Did you forget about the floating the
The
little
table.
floating thing with the bug?
I
Oh, no.
think we
I can't remember if we
did
recorded.
we record that one?
No.
No,
No.
you know what it was? We did record it. It was one of the test recordings, so I could make sure everything was working on my
Oh.
end. But it's not up to snuff to release as like a first episode or anything. There were still some issues there. But yeah, what they're referring to, the little bug things, is something that they've kind of run into a few times now. These weird little bug-like horrors of different varieties. You gotta be careful with it because there are spoilers attached to it. So I'll kind of leave it at that. There's some the spots where they've encountered them have been around like undergroundish tunnels, so to say. And the thing that James is referring to specifically was one of the oddities of the Bightshore, which they have like weird terrain, and they had oh man.
I'm sorry.
They had no, you didn't do anything.
I remembered it.
It was this spire of earth that was just floating up in the air, and the group as a whole was really hell-bent on investigating the spire. And couldn't figure out how to get up there, and their solution was to climb aboard a table. So we have 6 goblins and Squeeb's. I'll let him explain his thing later. Squeeb's little companion, all aboard a table that was being levitated into the air to reach the top of this thing. They made it by sheer dumb goblin luck up to this thing. And they encountered a couple different varieties of these weird little bug monstrosity things, and kind of had a bad time with it too.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. I thought there was going to be something cool up there. It was all just bad time.
It was cool. It was cool, just really deadly too.
And if I remember right, Iris was knocked down a couple times.
Yeah, I kept getting knocked out.
And had some weird dreams that we haven't seen the end of.
Yeah.
Yeah, some weird dreams and some weird messages in her dreams. But I think, does anyone have anything else that we might have forgotten about, like leading up to the episode 1?
I think that about covers it. I can't remember anything else myself.
Cool. So yeah, that's kind of how we got to episode 1, and just to wrap everything up, we're gonna do our character and player intros. So just to let everybody know, just tell the viewers who you're playing, your class, your backstory, all that good stuff. So Matthew, you're first on my list. So
hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew, and I play Nik Nik, the party's rogue. I'm a thief, and I didn't really go heavy into a backstory, so it's not going to be too in-depth. But Nik Nik's story kind of picks up not in the best of way, until she killed the boss of this small group of goblins and ran away. That's when she met her mentor and fence, Magpie Meatloaf.
Love that.
Magpie
This Rasta woman style goblin that has very large dreadlocks that kind of just curly Q up around her head, with bits and baubles all throughout. Magpie taught Nik Nik how to do pretty much everything thieving. So Nik, which at the time just went by the name Nik, was learning how to do all that stuff and put her past behind her. So she and Magpie would essentially run this kind of courier system between the major goblin groups, where they would get them special items from one and deliver it to another, whether or not it was well, I don't know if there's things such as legal terms between goblin groups, but whether it was known or not, coin was made. Magpie and Nik came across a caravan that was being led by a group of do-gooder adventurer type people. One being this young, flashy man, pretty well kept in this swashbuckler type gear. And he proclaimed himself as Nicholas Stafford, the head honcho in charge of this caravan. So Nik, Nik Nik decided there can only be one. Killed Nicholas Stafford, took his name, and with the combined effort of Magpie and herself, tried to capture the caravan, but overestimated the power of the adventurers. And it was at this point that Nik Nik was saved by Squeeb and company, who came in and saved them, killing all the other adventurers. And Nik Nik now feels, one, indebted to Squeeb, but also has this mentality of, if I'm strong enough, and if he's way stronger, especially the scary guy with a bow and arrow and a permanent scowl, that is like the shadow of death, I could just pick up all the stuff that they kill. Cool! I'll follow these guys. I'll get rich this way. So Nik Nik's biggest dream is just to have her own hoard of treasures. She had heard stories from Magpie about giant treasure hoards guarded by dragons and things like that. While terrifying, kind of inspired Nik Nik to want a dragon-sized hoard herself. So her driving force really is, I want to get rich, but it's underlaid with, I don't want to die. And that about covers everything for Nik Nik. So
Awesome.
I really, really hope you guys enjoy watching. And I'll pass it on to the next person.
Yeah.
Cool.
My next target's Mr. Jacob. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Sharto?
Sharto is Sharto.
I can't argue that logic.
Alright, I play Sharto, Loomstalker Ranger. Sharto's story starts in the Underdark, being a slave to a noble drow house. He honed his skills being part of many drow raiding parties and secretly watching the drow weapon masters fight. Eventually, he was able to escape during his slave revolt, along with a handful of other slaves. Before long, he found himself alone, his escape party being claimed by the various dangers of the Underdark. Was you gonna say something?
Nope.
I thought I heard something blipping.
You were hoping.
No, like it sounded like he was getting ready to say something.
Nope.
Feeling constantly hunted, surviving drow encounters and many adventures, Sharto kept running till he finally saw a blinding light shining at the end of the tunnel. Freedom? Question mark.
Or excellent.
So like he don't really know how to interact with people, which is kind of me in a nutshell, anyways. Like,
Start group here.
I think pretty much all of us are introverted to some extent.
he doesn't like to outwardly show emotion, affection, friendship,
What does he like?
but deep down, he likes killing shit for sure.
Like
Yeah,
friends.
he is really good at it.
But on the inside, or when no one's looking, he protects his dudes.
You mean when he's not shooting him in the butts with arrows?
We deserved it.
Yeah, I deserved it. I've been shot in the butt by Sharto many times. Don't mess with
The
Sharto.
fact that it happened more than once is something.
I also
Don't
want,
play jokes on Sharto, I have learned.
I also want people to, recognize that it's two people individually, specifically, that draw Sharto's wrath here.
Mhm.
And it's a recurring theme. It sounds like they've learned their lesson, in the point of the story where they're at now, but it's taken some bumps and bruises.
I don't think that was recorded, was it?
That's what I was about to ask. Are those recorded?
I don't remember, but I
It
feel
might
like
not be. Although
I don't think they
happened,
were.
it's happened a few times, so there might be one or two.
I think the first time, I think it was.
What was the time that...
It was when we were first introduced to Toltaldan and we were brought up on the turtle and it was like the next,
Yeah, they were
morning.
And I think it was Squeeb trying to fart in his face while he was sleeping.
They were just trying to fart in his room, wake him up with farts.
Yeah.
No, there's no farts involved.
And
Well, that's because we rolled that and they turned into farts with lumps.
Oh crap! I almost forgot. This would be the excellent character art. This is Nik Nik, the rogue, and this is from Melissa. Forgot I should be showing this.
I can add that afterwards too in the video.
Sorry, I got it. I can
When I
put it
edit.
for everybody.
did you show
Sharto.
Toltaldan?
Yeah, I did. I think it.
Okay.
If not, I'll show it again when we're all done. But just to make sure, this is Sharto, the Gloom Stalker, and then
Oh.
this happens a lot too, where they get the giggles. It's usually the two, Melissa and Chrissy.
There's stuff going on in the chat on the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably, thankfully, can't see at the moment because I have the art tab open. But yeah, Melissa, if you're good to go, it's your turn for introducing us to Iris.
I'm Melissa, and I play Iris Fart Gargle. She is a goblin, obviously, a monk of the Way of the Astral Self. She has pale gray skin, white hair pulled back in French braid, no eyes, has a seeing eye rat, Weegie Bobos, who's based off of an actual rat that I had. She sees through the eyes of her rat. She wears the typical monk attire, filthy, pants are often falling down, pretty gassy. She has a bandage over her eyes to hide her empty eye sockets. She has a collection of oddities that she's collected over the campaign. Her prized possessions are her friendship merman nipples that she has for her and Mustela, and her purple plants that cause diarrhea, her amethyst ring from her mentor, and her stick dolls that she got from some halflings, and she often plays with those. She's chaotic neutral, acts like a gross toddler, no social skills. She has astral arms that look like big glowing see-through mushrooms.
Mushroom.
Mushrooms.
Mushroom.
Love how we all do the air quotes there.
And she's got her astral visage, which is basically a mushroom cap. Looks kind of like an Asian rice hat thing. And she has a tattoo of black mushrooms all over her left arm, courtesy of Dr. Buckletick.
And that's not just a tattoo, though, right? That has some special properties.
Eldritch claw tattoo.
Yeah. That you
Like a slappy
tend to
one.
abuse.
Yes.
That's good.
Are you saying that she abuses her mushroom too much?
Yes. She's gonna go blah.
For Iris's backstory, she used to be a simple goblin, just oblivious and content, living with her not so kind mother. When she was happily gathering some ingredients in the woods, suddenly everything went dark, and she woke up in a monastery. Her rescuer was a tiefling monk named Akmenos, and he found her passed out with her eye sockets just empty and bloody. So he took her to the monastery, took care of her, and began to mentor her as a monk, because he's like, well, she's blind, she's got to be able to function somehow. So he thought that, the agility and the astral visage and all that would be helpful. So he taught her all of that. She doesn't fear death because astral monks don't really believe in the physical form. They believe that their astral forms are actually like who they are, and the body is just kind of nothing. She, during her meditation, before she had her seeing eye rat and she was blind, she was being taught to meditate and all of that, and she started seeing through the eyes of a rat, and that's when she found Leaky Bobos, and now they're inseparable. And the little rat's tan and white. He has a red eye and a black eye, based off of my rat. Iris was originally traveling to find her mentor, who had disappeared from the monastery, but everyone needs to eat, so she took a job by the closest goblin king, which happened to be on Tupalden, where she met Mustela. So Iris still wants to find her mentor. She's really drawn to Mustela. Sticks to her like super annoying glue. A bit obsessed with her. She follows her around, trying to be like her and protect her, although it's usually Mustela that's actually protecting Iris. She dearly loves her fellow members of the Mudbutt clan and the Tulur hobgoblins. However, she is a bit delusional and thinks she and Sharto are besties. And she may have a small crush on Board and Stubtooth.
So Board we meet. I think Stubtooth might have been...
Stubtooth was before.
Yeah. But he might show back up.
He was one of, 6 goblins that we recruited?
Yeah, we rescued him, didn't we?
Yeah. Might have been
Wasn't he the guy I gave teeth to?
No, that was not mine.
So yeah, it was a little group of goblins. I think there was 3 goblins and a gnoll, or 2 gnolls that you guys recruited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
I
that
remember
somewhere.
the gnomes. The canoles.
No.
God, I would love to play a gnoll.
Did you have any more, Iris?
Nope.
Any more special things or anything? All right.
Nope.
James, you're up. Introduce us to Mr. Dr. Buckletick.
Mr. Dr. Buckletick, Professor Esquire the Third.
James. I'm James, and I play Buckletick the Shallow. He is a warlock whose patron is the Great Old One. And, he's an older goblin, and he's all scarred up and cut up, and he's got jacked up looking sharp teeth. And, Buckletick was an ordinary goblin. Going into the story a little bit, I apologize.
Good.
He was an ordinary goblin, but seemingly had no real skill. So his home tribe banished him in the middle of a harsh winter nonetheless. Being older, the tribe figured he'd freeze in the night. Buckletick's anger fueled him. Almost a week had passed, and soon Buckletick found himself on the outskirts of a shoreside fishing village of humans. Small and cozy, but dangerous for his kind. Buckletick attempted to sneak in to steal some food, but was caught and beaten by the local children. Bruised and cut, the children tossed Buckletick's seemingly lifeless body into the cold ocean. He floated outwards and soon sank. And as he sank, the icy waters filled his wounds with icy hatred, and soon he went numb. Then he heard a voice in his head. Buckletick was puzzled. The voice began to talk to him and offered him something he thought he never had: purpose. Buckletick accepted with a hideous grin, and soon he awoke in a boat. Fish from the sea, he noticed a sailor scuffing about his gear, probably looking for a knife to cut off the presumably dead goblin's ears. Buckletick rose and looked at the fisherman, who turned around with a knife in hand. He approached the goblin, but the goblin raised a hand up, and a strange green energy had emerged from his hand and hit the fisherman and knocked him overboard. The fisherman was barely hanging on for dear life to an oar, but Buckletick grabbed it out of his hand and began to push him under the icy depths. And then Buckletick made his way to the small fishing village, where slowly, one by one, he made his marks, and sometime later, he met the Gobbo squad and figured, hey, let's go on the Gob squad, and Buckletick has his faith to his patron just as much as a cleric is to his deity, if not more so. And that's about it. Shock white hair, big yellow cat-looking eyes, and he has this old book with purple leather covers and some rusted etchings on the front and the bindings. With some, that's about it.
You gotten to see what your patron looks like yet?
Oh,
or what do you know of him? I guess is the better way of saying that.
Well, from other than the patron speaking to him in his head. Well, I don't know if I should say this because I think this was part of one of the recorded episodes. I don't want to spoil.
That's true. Good call.
But
kind of a fun reveal.
Yeah. All I will say is it's still mysterious and leaves more questions than giving any answers, to be honest. But still awesome nonetheless.
Sweet. Thank you, James.
What does Buckletick's eyes do when he gets excited?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Buckletick tends to get wall-eyed, and it might be because he got the living shit kicked out of him. So involuntarily, when he expresses delight, they just kind of they straighten out when he concentrates. But yeah, he enjoys the murdering.
The murdering.
From time to time.
The derpy eyes and the murdering.
Specifically, drowning.
Derpy eyes.
He's one of the more sadistic of the group, I would say.
Yeah.
Do the laugh.
Oh man, I need that as a ringtone.
Every time James sends you a message, it's gonna sound like
it's just that. I can't do it.
If he does that, like it'll be like a month later. He's like, "Okay, James, I'm sick of hearing your voice." Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, James. Jump over to Chrissy and learn about Mustela.
Hello, I am Chrissy. I play Mustela, the Circle of the Moon druid. I always call her a badger druid, though, because she thinks she's a badger, basically. Mustela was abandoned as a newborn in the forest by her awful goblin mom, who didn't want her. And she was discovered by a passing mother badger who took her in, believing that she might be some sort of strange, slightly deformed badger cub. Mustela has gray skin, a musky smell, and black hair with a white stripe that's very similar to the fur pattern on badgers. She also has yellow eyes that resemble like a beast eye, sort of like a wolf eye. And so being taken in by her new badger mom, she was raised in the forest with her and her badger brother named Precious. Do what?
I said pictured here.
Oh, yes. So, living with the badgers, that's all she ever knew. And this actually led to her first animal transformation. She believed that she was a badger, and so she turned into a badger. That was her first animal transformation. She discovered she couldn't stay in the form for more than a couple hours. And so to make up for not being able to always look like a badger, she fashioned some, like a badger pelt out of badger fur from the den, and she made some clothing basically from the badger fur, and used a tail from a dead fox and muddied it all up, made it very dirty, and she attaches the tail to her with a strap of, fabric. Not
the plug.
that everybody will believe. So she basically looks like a badger most of the time, smells like a badger. She walks on all fours most of the time. She doesn't speak very well, being raised by badgers, so her common and goblin speak and such are kind of broken. She makes a lot of like grunts, growling sounds, that sort of thing. She learned like basically all the ways of nature, animals, weather, how to fight, survival skills, everything from growing up in the woods with her badger family. She became very close to her brother Precious. She named him Precious because he is very precious to her. And so that was his name. And they became inseparable and always traveled together. She's always protecting him. That's like the everything to her is little Precious, her badger brother. And so when it was time to leave the den, her and Precious, when they were old enough, started traveling around the woods, saw many things. They discovered societies, towns, villages. She learned that these were good sources of food and entertainment, and she would sneak in like at night and basically steal anything she could, anything she wanted, food or whatever she could get from people without getting caught. This is where she learned to speak, actually, from watching and listening to people, watching how everybody went about their business in town. So that's how she learned how to speak. It was very crappy speak, but she learned a little bit. Let's see. I'm just checking my notes to see, make sure I don't forget anything. An important thing to note, how she basically became a druid. Once in the woods, there was an autumn Eladrin who was eating her lunch, minding her own business, and she wanted to steal her food. The smell of her food was irresistible, and Mustela must have it. So she was trying to sneak up on this Eladrin, and she was in she was in badger form, so she looked like a badger being followed by a smaller badger, and this Eladrin caught her. Her name was Cesare Aki. And with her being an autumn Eladrin, they're the season of goodwill, peace, sharing. They're very kind, giving Eladrin. And seeing Mustela, she looked upon her with eyes of sympathy and compassion. She saw, a hungry creature who was protecting a badger, and she knew Mustela was not an actual badger when she tried to speak to her animal speak with animals, and it didn't work. And she discovered it's because Mustela was not a badger. She was actually a goblin in animal form. And basically seeing that this was not a normal goblin. It was not any of the goblins she had ever witnessed before. This was a goblin protecting a wild animal that seemed to be, its friend. And being taken with this, she decided that she was going to help Mustela a little bit, and trained her to be a druid, basically, I guess you'd say. She wanted her to be a good goblin instead of an evil goblin that she was used to seeing and experiencing and battling in the world. She thought maybe she could take this special goblin and make her a good goblin. She did this in an unusual way. She took her under her wing by training her with treats and snacks. Anytime she performed a druid spell properly, or she learned to speak Elvish. This Eladrin taught her Elvish, and anytime she spoke correctly, did anything that was the right thing, she got a treat. And so Mustela learned to be a druid with snacks and treats, kind of like training a dog.
Mustela went through click training?
Yes, essentially. She just figured that would be the best way to train her, since this particular goblin acted like an animal. She was going to train her like an animal. And so that's how she learned to be a druid.
Awesome. So did Eladrin's training for trying to get you to be a good goblin, did that work on Mustela?
Not really. Mustela just wanted the snacks and the treats and all the good things to eat. So she performed everything correctly to get those. She still maintains her goblin rottenness. She does still respect like the forest and animals and all that since she grew up with it. That was her whole life, was being in the woods with everything. So she does still respect nature and all of that, but she doesn't really care about Elvish anything. She knows how to speak Elvish, but she doesn't really care about their morals or anything like that.
And in the picture here, I see a bunch of red on Mustela. What's that all about?
The red. Do you mean
Butcher bib?
the butcher's bib?
Yeah. It's a fun little item for Mustela in animal form.
Yes. Do you want me to like say what it does, or?
Yeah, you can. It's up to you.
Basically, it. I'm actually going to read it because I don't remember word for word.
Yeah.
Once per turn, when you roll damage with a melee attack, you can re-roll the weapons damage dice. If you do so, you have to take the second total. And then it also lets you score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 on any attacks that do slashing damage. And it's always bleeding.
It's always, oh yeah. It always looks bloody.
It looks bloody.
And I've ruled it, this is contested some places, but I've ruled it as when she's in her animal form, it still works. It shows up on her as like either some kind of bandana on her form or like hanging on her arm or something in the bigger form. So just my personal DM rule is that it works while she's in her animal forms. All right, so thank you, Chrissy, for introducing Mustela. And last but not least, and you'll hear this often, what is a Squeeb?
A Squeeb!
That is me. I'm Garen. I play Squeeb, who is a battlesmith artificer. And Squeeb is a tiny goblin. He was born a tiny merfolk goblin. He was born into the slave trade. He was used as entertainment and bait in gambling cockfights, so rooster fights. Squeeb was given his name for the squealing sound he made when he was thrown into the fights. He was quite fierce for his diminutive size, but he put up a good fight. He met his match when he was thrown in with a champion rooster named Bok Bok. Bok Bok! They practically killed each other and were left for dead in a barn after the fight. Locked in the barn together, they basically had to survive in there. So they relied on each other to catch like rats and beetles and whatnot that lived inside the barn. So even though they fought each other, they kind of learned to make amends and help each other live. So they grew closer that way. The owner of the barn, his name was Sheldon Flogroth. He was a drunken gambler who liked to tinker with alchemy and the arcane, but he wasn't good at it at all. He just basically willy-nilly everything. He found the two alive and thought it was a good idea to experiment on them. And his goal was to combine the two into an ultimate fighting rooster that he could take to the fights and win lots of money. So basically, he just experimented on them over and over. After many failed attempts of experiment spells and potions that he made, Squeeb and Bok Bok were getting pretty worn down from all the torturous stuff the guy did to him. So eventually the spells and stuff actually started having an effect on them. Squeeb and Bok Bok started getting a heightened intelligence, and there was a psychic bond that was created between them from all the crazy stuff the guy did to him. Let's see, after that, one of the experiments completely backfired and it ended up basically destroying Bok Bok's body and severing his soul from his body and putting it into basically a marble. that Squeeb found because Bok Bok was talking to him through telepathy. Yeah, it's a weird story.
We had an Eladrin train a goblin to be a druid, so.
That's true. So, basically after that, Squeeb was super upset, but happy to find his friend. Well, at least his soul still contained in the marble, and he was hell-bent on basically recreating Bok Bok a new body. So with Squeeb's new intelligence that he found, he started using different pieces of old like clockwork stuff and tools that were left in the barn to recreate Bok Bok a new clockwork rooster body. And that was part of his plan to escape the barn and get out of there and get away from Sheldon's experiments. So eventually that happened. And when Sheldon came into the barn and locked the barn one time, Squeeb and Bok Bok revolted and escaped. And eventually found the Mudbutts.
Awesome. So, in the picture, Squeeb is holding an odd-looking shield. I don't think that was recorded. How he got
I don't
that?
think it was.
I know he didn't.
Yeah, not how I got it.
Made just yet, but why don't you go ahead and it's a minor, a wee tiny bit of a spoiler, but where did you get that thing you're using as a shield in this picture?
It was a hill giant?
Yep.
We took down a hill giant. So Squeeb likes to scavenge all sorts of things because he likes to create things from bones and kind of resurrect things. So a lot of his magic is made from like clockwork dung beetles, the carcasses of beetles and bones and stuff. And the hill, he severed basically a toenail off of a hill giant and worked on that a long time and made it into a shield.
Excellent. So, and it looks like you're missing a leg.
Oh yeah, that was from one of the fights with Bok Bok. Bok Bok took his leg.
So we have a.
Oh yes, and Bok Bok is not called Bok Bok anymore. Now that he has his new body, he's Bok Tok.
Because he takes?
Yes, because he has a clockwork heart that goes to Bok.
Did anyone else notice? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Did anyone else notice all of our stories had one thing in common? It all begins with the absolute shit being kicked out of us.
I mean, it's goblins, right?
Yeah.
I guess Mustela wasn't really beat up, but she was left for dead, so it's kind of the same deal, I think.
Yeah. We all have really crappy beginnings.
We were all dealt crappy hands, and people were like, goblins are evil. It's like,
one drunk, one blind, a couple of them enslaved, toy Nik Nik. So they all had crappy beginnings. Everybody had interesting stories. So thanks for sharing those. We'll wrap it up here. A little bit longer than I thought it was going to take, but really wanted to get everybody's backstories and introduce everybody. One last thing, we mentioned the rules a little bit. I should have put this in the expectations thing, but like I said, we're not professionals. I'm not a professional DM, especially early on. I mess up some rules, so just hang with us and I try to play it off like I'll rule something and then we might have a discussion with somebody later on that I ruled something wrong a certain way, or I think once or twice Sharto Jake has said that he did something wrong, he realized it, and now we're playing it. So you'll see stuff change up in there. So all I ask is have patience with us. I'm not a professional. This is a big group. I'm gonna get things wrong. I'm gonna rule things off. Some of the players might get a spell or an ability wrong. Don't freak out on anybody. The chances are, since these are, we've got like 10 or 12 episodes recorded, maybe more by the time this actually comes out. Chances are we've corrected it down the line already. So just be cool with everybody. Just understand that none of us are professionals, and we're all just having fun. We all just like to do goblin things in our ridiculous campaign. That said, if you watched all this, first, thank you for hanging out and learning everybody's stories and characters and everything. Secondly, I really hope you decided that this makes you want to jump in and watch. I promise it gets better as it goes along. The maps will get better. The Mike's recording stuff gets a little bit better as we go. Like I said, we're still learning. We're still starting out, and we're still relatively new at this. So bear with us and just try to have a good time with us. Hope you like it. If you do like it, if you like this, I should say, watch for episode 1 for the Mudbutts. And if you want to check out a more like good themed campaign, horror-ish setting is the Frost Maiden campaign, which we should probably have another one of these kind of videos with the other group up sometime. No promises as to when. It takes a bit of doing to get everybody together for it. So thank you guys for sacrificing your day to get this out. But yeah, and the only other thing I'll say is to keep checking the descriptions for links for social media. Well, I think I'll always drop a link to this particular video in all the other episode videos in case anybody's new and wants to catch up on it. And eventually, we'll have a website with all the character info on it. So if you don't feel like watching a long video, you can go to the website and check out. I think we'll have, the plan is to have stats, backstory, pictures and art.
Yeah, lots of art, pictures, video stuff, possibly.
Wants to make things.
Everybody's backstory, everybody's full backstory.
So the full backstory is the themes. And on the subject of art, again, thanks to Melissa and Chrissy for all the art and video work you guys have done with intros and things. The music.
Yeah, the music. Sister does good music.
And for people that feel so motivated, we would absolutely love to see any character art you guys have. So go ahead and make some or not character art, fan art.
Fan art.
Make some fan art.
Any fan art.
It doesn't matter if you think it's good or bad. We just want to see it. It'd be super cool to see. So
memes too.
I would love to see I be a doctor, I swear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyone have anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
Buckletick wants to murder everybody at his old home tribe.
Okay.
Because that's still untouched. So he's
we'll do that. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Takes revenge.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I'll be totally happy.
I just hope everyone that watches us will have as much fun as we are playing the game.
Me too.
Yeah, we like to do laugh.
Yeah.
There are some things that happen that is just like my face will really hurt afterwards because I laugh so much.
I think that was episode, what was that, 12?
Is it 12?
Untold
The one on Tiltodden?
Yeah, that was...
Oh, God.
Yeah, my face, like Matt said, my face was hurting after that. It was ridiculous.
I was thinking of a very particular one. I can't remember what episode it is, but it's mostly what happens in chat, and I look at it, and it's so unbelievably funny to me.
I'm sorry, Jake.
I had to mute myself, get off camera, because I was laughing too hard.
The chat is always full of good/awful things.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a warning too for expectations. For better or worse, leave the chat on in all the videos on the side for Roll20 chat.
Check that. A lot of stuff happens there.
Be warned about what you're.
There are some interesting things.
Yeah, you're warned. There's weird shit happens in chat. Be careful.
Lots of vulgarity.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us today and listening to all of our character stuff, and we hope to see you guys around. So I gotta say it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you can, share a link to one of our videos. This one, even if you want to, or with a friend or family member, be super appreciated and help spread the word. And we hope to see you around. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Yeah, fart.